Hi guys, and welcome back to the next chapter of discovering ourselves. Now remember that each of what I am sharing is in my book and a bigger context of it, including part of my story that led me to start to unravel the layers of life. In that being said, this has been a lifelong journey for me, and I've still got a lifelong journey to go. And my hope is that the footprints in the sand will be left for each of us for better tomorrows and for our future generation. One of the things that was really, truly tough along my journey was dealing with sexual abuse and abuse. And it led me to a disconnection in myself. And embracing my innate sensuality was one of the lifesavers for me from depression. One of the things they ask a lot of trauma victims is, how do you know they've healed from trauma? And one of the things I didn't understand until I experienced it myself is that when they start to feel life again. For 2 years, I was numb. I couldn't taste food. I couldn't hear music. I couldn't feel touch. Everything was just numb. And then one day I was outside. It was autumn in Austria. And the sun was beating down. It was a very warm autumn. And I was looking at the trees and the colors in the trees. And I'm still feeling this. It's just so emotive for me. And I looked up at the sun and I was like, holy moly, it's so warm. Like, I've been through the whole of this summer. It's so hot. And this is the first time I realized the sun was warm after 2 years. And at that moment, I realized that I'd started to feel again and I had been missing something and missing life. And in that moment, I realized what it meant to have sensuality attached to the physical being, to create life full of rapture and richness and experience. And so in chapter 6, I talk about embracing our innate sensuality and how the stories that we are given so often dictate us to leave our sensuality and therefore leave a lot of the richness of our life away, or the messages in society, because sensuality is so attached to sexuality. So this is task 2. I've really loved reading task 1, and let's get started. So I've always been taught that our bodies are simply the vehicles that we have been gifted for our souls to interact with the physical world in all its wonder. My dad used to look up at sports people and say, what a great specimen. Look what they can do with their body. And that was basically it. As such, in and of itself, the human body is a neutral space. And that's what I grew up with. And I didn't know that this sexuality context was such a big hoorah. It actually mind-boggled me because, I grew up with, getting changed at the beach, without a change room, just wrapping a towel around you or just dropping your togs, which is bathers in Australian or cozies. And my dad would walk around in the house naked. There was no big deal. And so the human body was never brought to me as a sexual contact. It was only brought to me as sensual, like, oh my God, this food tastes so good. Or, oh my God, I love the beat of this music. It's making me want to get jiggy with it. No. And so it was a really big eye-opener for me when coming on social media. And also because sexuality had been kind of placed down for me, I was always a very big tomboy, trying to keep up with things. So when the labels were assigned, beautiful, sexy, sensual, whatever else came from society in which we lived, I was confused. Having said that, as the vehicle for our physical experiences, there's no denying that our bodies have an innate and what some might call a divine God-given sensuality, by which I mean a natural ability to fully experience, express, and enjoy our physical senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and feeling, for optimal physical pleasure as well as for optimal everyday functioning. Anyone fully in touch and at ease with the wide spectrum of sensuality therefore has the capacity to live a life that feels both supremely filling and supremely free. And that's those people that move and dance and aren't so caught up in the outside world. They're so caught up inside them that they look like they're in another world. That's attached to sensuality. Unfortunately, there's often this confusion between notion of sensuality and sexuality, which has led to us being encouraged to temper our sensuality for fear of coming across too bold, brazen, inappropriate. The list goes on. There is, however, immense value in understanding, connecting with our divine sensuality. And this is what I explore in chapter 6. One of the things I get commonly asked is, does yoga increase sex, ability to have better sex? And it only will if you increase the ability to connect to yourself. And so this is really important about sensuality. You see, what people don't realize is the turn on comes from our mind. So if we are not in our minds feeling the sensations, we won't feel the connection to life or another. The relationship between sensuality and sexuality, both sensuality and sexuality are a part of the rich fabric of life. We all come through sexuality, we make children. So how liberating would it feel to become more familiar with these aspects about ourselves without fear or judgment? Reclaiming our own bodies and beauty. Isn't it time that we defined ourselves what makes us feel sensual, brave and beautiful? We get told to wear a bikini, to be naked, to put clothes on, to do this. But there is no look. So rather than being restricted by limited or outdated opinions of others, wouldn't it be great if we could define our ability of reclaiming our bodies and beauty? Valuing both feminine and masculine. Instead of expecting ourselves to be just one thing or the other, how amazing might it feel to celebrate the immense value of both the yin and the yang side? That meaning that women and men across the spectrum can be compassionate and soft. Men can have emotion, or women can be strong and courageous and also soft. Embracing our divine and innate sensuality means being entirely comfortable with all aspects of our own bodies and beings, radiating confidence without needing other people's approval. What could be more beautiful than that? What I would love to see in this post, it's a little deeper, is the ability to either play some music on and move to what it makes you feel, or via dance or yoga. And in your caption, describe your relationship between sensuality and sexuality through the judgment and shaming, or what you define as beautiful and makes you feel sensual, or how you embrace both feminine and masculine and how it held you back at the beginning because you didn't realize you could. I look forward to seeing your posts, and thank you for the opportunity to share and to journey together. Remember, there's no way but 7 billion different ways. Have fun with it. Ciao.